Good morning or good afternoon, wherever it is that you are spending your Sunday fun day. Welcome to Truth and Transparency. I got a special guest today. Dani Dan will be joining me hopefully here in just a couple minutes. But I want to let you guys know, in case you forgot, that if I start something, I always finish it. And those of you guys that have been wondering about the mock trial for the Christopher Lee Watts case, wait no more. Yes, the second half of the mock trial will be resuming in September. We're going to get everybody back from the long summer break. So, again, Mod Squad, good morning. All my Mod Bods, love you guys. Members, lurkers, haters, lovers, welcome to the transparency. Super early, but I started my day at 6 a.m. today. Again, going to give people a chance to get in. Let's see here. Just going to recap a little bit about the mock trial, what has already happened, and then talk about some forensic freestyling for you guys. Again, it's or lack thereof. So, but good morning to everybody. Gonna give people a chance to get in, chat, love. I woke up this morning, my abs were killing me. I literally couldn't get through my sentences last night. I was laughing so hard. So, it's also Christmas in July. Today is July 25th, in case you guys didn't know. Christmas in July. So again, just waiting for my special guest, and going to be just chatting about the mock trial resuming, as well as some shiz. Wowzers, good morning. Everybody is really concerned where Aunt Lala is. She just reported in for duty. Hey, Mod Squad, did you check that tracking? You got that tracking? God, my voice is raspier than it needs to be. I feel like Dani Dan's going to be fashionably late. I'm so excited that Dani is with you this morning. Two of my faves. Yes, two of my faves too. God, my car, I need freezing in here. So it's Jesus' half birthday also then. Yes, it is. You guys have never celebrated Christmas in July. It's a big thing here in Ohio. Put-in-Bay does a big old island party for Christmas in July. So does the zoo and all of the amusement places. I feel like Dani doesn't understand what 9:15 means. I'm also going to be doing some special. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, boo. Let's go. Come on. I'm live. Let's roll. I'm also going to be doing some special pop-up videos of other cases that have just happened in our past, and just on random days here and there throughout the month of August. I'll be shooting the shiz. With some cases. I know that Natalie Holloway is on for one of my days. The Stephen Avery case. I didn't get an alert, so no one's getting my alerts. Yes, I know. Well, that's just horrible. I put the link up. Or it's right there if you can find it. Danny Dan's. Here you go. Yep. I don't know what it's doing, but when I always do these random pop-ups, this is what happens. I'm gonna try to get on 2 seconds. Okay, girl, you try. Yeah, so again, throughout the month of August, I'm gonna sprinkle in some case talk about past cases, and bring to light some of the stuff that people, maybe didn't know about. Again, Natalie Holloway is one of them. Stephen Avery, O.J. Simpson, and I'm still thinking about what my fourth is going to be. Unsub and resub to fix the alert problem. Yeah, whatever that means. All right, here we go. End the stream. Welcome.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
What's up? I'm good.
Good afternoon.
I'm good. Are you making fun of my technical ability that I couldn't get in?
No, because I would probably be the same way.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get an alert. That's why I was like, are you good? And you're like, I'm live?
I'm over here rolling, girl.
That's just standard me, late to the party.
Yeah, I was actually. I want to be honest. I'm really kind of disappointed that you don't have a backwards hat on and a hoodie. Just wanted to let you know that.
Oh my God, I do have to do one thing before we start. Hold on, Larry, don't be surprising me in the middle of this live now, because we've been there and done that, and people don't need to see that shiz. So yeah, that's him told. You won't see any of that here. So if you're up for that kind of shiz, you need to go to a different channel. Isn't that right, guys? Isn't that right?
So we don't get any surprise pokes?
Yeah, no surprise pokes or any other kind of animal activity on this channel.
Oh, okay. You know what? That's what I need to cue in that song.
That's over on what's it called? OnlyFans. You want to drop my OnlyFans in the chat?
I will run it across the ticker if you really want.
Just run it across the screen for the next half hour.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
So, how's your weekend been?
It's been good. I've been working, and this is my first day off, so I'm just chilling, and it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside. So when you've no AC in this country, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, see, I thought maybe you had a fake accent this whole time, so it's real, right?
Yeah, it's real. Sadly. I know I'm gonna get loads of complaints in the comments that I don't know what that girl's saying, and I don't know what she says.
Oh, I love it. They can deal with it. They can put subtitles on or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Subtitles for me. Can you imagine?
That'd be great. Literally great. So yeah.
So what's the dealio?
I'm pumping gas.
Oh, you're pumping gas? Yourself? How very, very down to earth of you, Anna.
I know, like, can you believe it?
I thought you would have had someone doing that for you.
Normally I do. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Oh my god. You are too
So,
funny.
so we're gonna get things underway with the second half of the mock trial.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
excited.
so what roles do you think you want to play for the second half of the mock?
Uh, well, I know you hit me up about being NK, but I don't know if I could deal with the emotional trauma of that. I don't know if I'm like comfortable going head to head with that one. What do you think?
So no NK for you?
Well, only if you promise to not go too hard, you know.
Um, yeah, I mean, well,
What do you
NK's
think?
are like, and I mean, we could talk about it. I mean, she is the star witness for the prosecution. Um,
Right.
she'll be closing out the prosecution's case, and then the defense will take over. I think that I definitely want to use you as one of my forensic experts for the defense.
Cool.
Um, so I am gonna put in. I'm gonna have to summon you. Definitely gonna have to fly you over. It's gonna cost us a pretty penny, but you know, us public
Maybe we
defenders,
could
we
do
have
like
free
a
reign.
yeah, maybe we could ask for super chats or something for that, you know. Maybe do
Super.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, totally. We could start a GoFundMe to
Oh,
bring
do you
you
know
in
what
as
we
our
could
expert.
do? We could do like a 24-hour live where we raise funds just for that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do a 24-hour live and talk about the case that we actually don't really know anything about. Okay.
Okay. What?
Okay. As you would say, okay.
Okay. What is going on? What?
Dad,
Good
dad.
morning. I would just like to put in $38.85 on the black SUV. 30. Okay, perfect.
Stop doxing yourself.
I'm doxing myself.
Yeah.
Do I have to? I don't want to. I want to be. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Have a dinging day, sir. I will do the same. All right.
Did you just tell him to have a dinging day?
Yeah, dinging away over here.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
I always feel like I'm on the road, you know, like
Uh,
I feel like I'm on the Tour de Lies, but only the truth.
you're like the littlest hobo. That's what it reminds me of.
So
You know the way, like, you know the way you were evicted and you're on the road. You are the littlest hobo. We need to like have that as your entry theme song.
yes, I'm gonna take a picture of my blow up mattress in my trunk.
Oh my god.
Okay, so like let's just jump into this because I really wanted to talk a little bit about the forensics with Chris's truck. Let's get some like myths and let's get some facts. Let's people
Right.
that are out there that may think something because they listen to God knows who.
Exactly.
But today I really wanted to talk about Chris's work truck. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I can see like some people in chat kind of have seen me before on another channel, and you maybe have seen me, you maybe haven't seen me, but I've done a few videos with another creator in the past, and we focused heavily on the forensics, the autopsies, uh, and what we did, it was the evidence, but that we broke it down into sections. So the house, the truck, the site, and then the bodies.
Okay.
So it's like little chunks. And when we're talking about the truck, well, actually, when we're talking about any of it, the most annoying thing is all these fake news things that go
Yeah,
around about the Watts
exactly.
case, and it drives me insane. And one of the things that is always said is, testing stopped, or there was no money left, and he pled, so they didn't test things. Guys, that's just not true. It's just not true. Stuff was tested, and what I was talking to Lana about this morning was that not only was stuff tested, what is more shocking is what was returned from the CBI that they didn't want to test. And what you have to understand is when Lana talked before about Brady violations, Brady v. Maryland is when no matter what you find out, whether you're the defense or the prosecution, you have to turn over, even if it hurts your client. And sometimes,
actually, the defense doesn't have to turn over, just the prosecution.
Yeah, just the prosecution. But if they test something that they find out and it hurts their client, they still have to give it over. So the thing is,
no. Hold on. You mean, so
yeah,
for example, the defense, let's just hypothetically say that the defense tested, let's just say the truck. They had their own expert come in and test the truck. They would not have to turn over anything that they did. They could just just decide not to put it in evidence, you know what I mean, and leave it alone. But if the prosecution, whatever they do, they have to, whatever they uncover, they have to turn it over regardless,
Right.
And if it's
where that comes into play here is that quite often, and it's not just in the Watts case, it's in lots of cases, and it was very prevalent in the Avery case, was do they not test stuff because they know that it's not going to be favorable to the state when the results come back? So that's where it comes into play in the Watts case, is with this evidence that was returned from the CBI to Frederick Police Department, to Amanda Purcell in particular, and she logged it back in, and it basically goes into the evidence vault. And then when his plea agreement rolled around, he signed away all his rights to ever look at that evidence again, and actually he signed authorization for that evidence, including DNA evidence, to be destroyed by the state.
Yeah, and they had like 120 days, but normally they'll hang on to some stuff regardless. But yeah, they had the option. I mean, they could have.
Yeah.
But let's go back to like that whole okay, so with the truck, let's talk about this, guys. Number one thing is, he left for work. Obviously that morning, everybody wants to pay attention to that video, even though I would do everything. I would get that evidence completely suppressed and get that thrown out, because it didn't come from, when they went ahead and got the warrants and got the results back from actually the company, it said that nothing was recorded that day. So either it was deleted, but for all we know, if there's no dates, time-stamped on those handheld devices that the police were using to video record Nate's camera. I mean, for all we know, that could have been I'm just saying this, for all we know, that could have been the Monday morning before that day, a week before. I mean, I'm just, because if that is not clear as day to show that timestamp. But anyways, regardless, the truck, his kids were never in the truck. Shanann barely in the truck, right? I mean, wasn't that he couldn't have him in there and stuff like that? He had to bring his truck home and then take the Lexus to go pick him up and stuff like that. So, I would think that right there, that's definitely going to help, to be able to determine, trace any type of DNA in that truck. If the kids were never in there, and then supposedly they were put in, the truck with Shanann that, early morning.
Right. So, you remember, people remember who watched Making a Murderer, and it was a very famous part of it when Fassbender, the guy from the FBI, said to the forensic expert, he wrote her he said to her, and she wrote herself a note saying, put her in his trailer or garage, right? So Fassbender was saying to Cherie, who was the DNA/forensic expert, I want you to be able to put Teresa Hallback in Avery's trailer or garage. Now, when you apply that to the Watts case, because it's what's going to slam dunk the case, is they want to put a deceased Shanann Watts in his truck. Because the thing is, unlike Avery, where Teresa shouldn't have been in the trailer in his home, obviously Shanann had every right to be in the home, so it wouldn't be strange to find trace evidence of her in the home. However, it would be strange to find trace evidence of her in the vehicle, because by Anadarko regulations, she should never be in the vehicle.
Correct.
So that's why the trace evidence that was taken, the main thing that they should have been busting their nut to do was put Shanann Watts, especially a deceased Shanann Watts, in his truck. And they couldn't do it.
Correct.
There is not one single solitary piece of evidence to link a deceased Shanann Watts or any other deceased material from any person to the Ford 250. There is none. And it also says in the plea agreement, it lists the evidence log that the plea agreement is based on, and it's all the evidence that we have in the discovery, and it states there is no additional evidence. So see all this, but there's other evidence out there, there's they have stuff that they held back, blah blah blah. No, because in the plea agreement it's very clear. It says, please see attached evidence log, and this is what he signed to say that they could destroy. So they can destroy all the DNA evidence. They can destroy the fingernail clippings, the palm swabs, everything that was taken from the bodies at autopsy, everything that was taken from the truck. They can destroy all of that. That's what he signed. That's what they put into the plea agreement. But what a lot of people don't know, and what just blew my mind, and I never hear people talking about this, and that's why I covered it before, is that there is this report in the discovery that very clearly states that the CBI returned evidence to Frederick Police Department for storage and said, we refuse this. They actually used the words, we refuse.
They refused to take that. And there was like 4 to 6 items. That's 100% in the discovery.
And the most important thing, or the two most important thing is, where did they say throughout all of this that Shanann Watts' body was in the truck? They said it was in the floor in the back. Okay?
Correct.
So during the testing of the Ford on August 22nd, they took the Ford in on the 17th. They didn't even test it until the 22nd, which is bizarre, but they didn't test it until the 22nd.
Let's back up there for a second.
Yeah.
Something I'm going to tell everybody too is, okay, people that think that Chris could have vacuumed out or wiped down this truck. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Now, Chris leaves that morning, and the number one thing that we have to all remember is that his truck has geo-tracking. Okay.
Right.
And that's probably the best tracking you're going to find, in the country.
It's worldwide. It's amazing.
Yes. So right there, I think that the quote unquote geo-tracking device on his vehicle would have noted that he stopped at a car detailing place to, detail this bitch.
Right.
But he leaves, he goes to work, he's there, and his GPS, stops are all obviously, like, they got all of that back. And then, he goes straight to the house and pulls up his truck, it's parked there in the street. And he never gets in that truck again except for one time, which what he does is because there was going to be a bunch of, camera crews.
Right,
He
on
moves the
Tuesday.
truck. Yeah, he moves the truck across the street and has it parked, the other way on the opposite
Right.
side. So it was down away from the house. So the Chris cleaned out the truck thing
Yeah.
is, I mean, there is no evidence that supports that
No.
with a tracking device, on his vehicle.
But can I also say that from a forensic point of view, that's just absurd. Like, that is the equivalent of me, chundering right now all over this floor and cleaning it up with like a tissue and expecting forensics to come in and not know that there was chunder there. Like, it's so ridiculous. You're saying that, excuse me, Shanann Watts was in basically a thin sheet, so a bed sheet, okay?
Yeah.
She wasn't inside a body bag. She wasn't inside something of a thick material. She was inside, according to the story, a sheet, and according to him, she had defecated and she was in the process of decomposition. And he, to the point where he's saying it could be smelt. So you put that into a vehicle, there's going to be biomaterial all over it. Material that you can't even see. So it wouldn't even matter if he didn't see it, it's there. The biological material that comes from a body, even the scent, even to get the scent out of the truck, those guys would have known as soon as they opened the doors of the truck. Like,
yeah,
there's just no doubt about it.
And then let's also talk about, two small children. I mean, if you believe, regardless, and if you believe that they were alive or, deceased at that point,
right?
Children touch everything,
right?
Little kids and, sneezing or, touching things, picking their nose. I'm just saying, like, sucking their thumb, right. And then, and we all know that Bella sucked her thumb. Like, that was like a big thing that she did. So, I mean, I have a 5-year-old and my car's always destroyed due to,
Yeah, kids are gross. Like, they're good luck to you, because it doesn't get any better when they get bigger. They're gross. They've got dirty hands. They've got sticky hands. They stick their fingers up their nose and touch stuff. Like, kids are little germ magnets, and they leave a mark wherever they go. Like, they're not. You're gonna know about it if they've been in your car.
Mm-hmm.
But from a forensic point of view, though, you can't just wipe that stuff away. It's not like you can just spray a little Lysol and that disappears. That's not how it works.
Okay, so let me ask, like, this. Not that this is off topic because it has to do with a truck.
Yeah.
Do you know that you're on video camera due to the fact that your neighbor has motion sensor cameras? Okay.
Right.
And just because I was dealing with the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case so, like, recent here, and they've heavily on this, different surveillance cameras. It's sometimes not what the camera picks up, but what the camera doesn't pick up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, I think just it would be very difficult to do everything and not be seen doing that on camera.
There's no way. There's just no way. I mean, the whole camera thing, right. I personally am a science-based person.
I think it's bad for the prosecution because it doesn't show anything. I think it's actually, that doesn't help the prosecution, to be honest.
Right. And when you listen, everybody's obsessed with Coonrod's body cam, okay? But what people don't tend to watch is the full body cam where Coonrod is talking to the other officer later on when Baumhover's inside the house with Chris, and Coonrod's out the back near the play set, and he's talking to the other officer, and the other officer says something, like, it's not verbatim, but he says something like, so how do we know that, what time she got home and stuff, and how do we know she didn't just go out the front door? And he says, well, that next door neighbor, he has this surveillance camera. He goes, but it's not worth anything because it's so patchy, like it's so, like there's there, and he actually says the words he says, there's so many gaps because it didn't pick up NA arriving or Shanann getting out of NA's vehicle, that it easily could have missed Shanann leaving out the front easily. Like, that's the whole thing. Straight away, Coonrod put his cards on the table and said their surveillance was useless. They didn't even try and get it.
Or maybe the surveillance was deleted. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
right.
Who knows at that point? It's for as much activity, you're backing a vehicle up, you're asking your son to get on your trunk or your front of your vehicle, whichever way, she was doing it, and to be looking at that. I mean, that is so much movement to be, walking around the car then, and then you're coming. There is so much movement there. How is there not one, like, even if it was 20 seconds worth of seeing, and you're going to move slowly to back up a vehicle all the way to the point that you almost have to hit the garage so that you can get on top of the trunk, to do all that. And none of this is on surveillance, but you see Chris, you catch him walking out of the garage, and then going and getting the vehicle and then backing up, and that's all there. And I'm sorry, but you can't. It's kind of like, again, in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case, there was this mysterious evidence blanket that you put over, to preserve evidence. It's a huge yellow blanket that the PSP used, the Pennsylvania State Police. And nowhere in any of these videos, and mind you, there's like 20 people out and walking around, whether they are neighbors at this point when they're doing all this stuff, once they're at the house. There is not one video clip of any of the officers going into a cop, vehicle, pulling out the blanket. And this is a big, bulky blanket. And then walking up to the SUV, putting it in there to then pull it away, because that's what they were trying to say. Like, we preserved all the evidence in this vehicle. We put our gloves on. We did this with the blanket. Well, guess what? There is no video footage of that. And then mysteriously, this blanket ends up in the vehicle on the day that, they showed up the next day to go ahead and process and take pictures. And it's like, there's this yellow blanket that's, in the driver's seat. And it's like, well, who put that blanket there and when did it get there? Because you have all this,
that's
nonstop footage. Yeah. And so,
but they happen to miss the one important thing.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like, she came multiple times because she had to leave. Then she left to go to the doctor's office to check on that, to see if Shanann supposedly showed up there. And then came back. I mean, there was more than just one trip, and there's no footage that even remotely, nothing.
But here's the thing as well, and this is what, this is what I was getting to with the back seat of the truck, right? So you've got everyone, whether Chris's confession number 1, confession number 2, confession number 365, right? It doesn't matter which one you believe or which one you don't believe, or if you believe any. Every single person who's put out a narrative about this case has always said that Shanann was in a sheet in the back seat on the floorboard of the truck. But when they took the truck in for testing, they did trace lifts, which are, like, a lot of people are like, what's trace lifts? Trace lifts are literally like You guys call it saran wrap, we call it cling film, and it's like a sticky version of that, and it gets stuck to the floor, stuck to a seat, and then you put like a paper back on it, and then you put it under a microscope, and it's tested, and any kind of trace, anything at all, it's there, whether it be hair, fibers, anything is lifted. Now they did that on the driver's seat, the seat covers, the passenger seat, the center console, and the back seats. Do you know where they didn't do it? The back floorboard. And guys, you can take this whatever way you want. You can take it thick. You can say, oh, don't mention them or whatever. But it's out there in the public. The Rusek family went on Dr. Phil and they did their episode that everybody's seen, and they talked about the Wisconsin confession. And in the first few minutes of that episode, Dr. Phil says to Sandra Rusek, so where did he put Shanann? And she says, he put Shanann on the floorboard in the back of the truck. And her word for word, she said, that's where they found all the hairs. That's where they found all the hairs. Now, in the testing and in all the evidence packs, there is no hairs recovered from the truck, but there's also no testing done on the back floorboards. And then,
do you think that do you think that anyone's confusing? Because I was always, when I first, dived into this, and I said, is anybody confusing the way back of the truck as like the back floorboard? I mean, are people like, are they mixing that up? Because, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
I don't know.
Why? It doesn't lie. Like when you get testing back, you didn't test the they said no. They were basically the girls were sitting, or on the regular seats, and she's underneath the girls. Right. It's like, okay, then you are saying it's in the back of the truck in this,
on the floor.
Yeah, cabish area, and you're not speaking about the way back,
Right. But I can also say what people don't talk about in the report that those guys said, no, we refuse this evidence. What did they refuse? Everything from the truck. They refused the trace lifts from the truck, the ones from the seat. They don't want them.
Knows, guys, this is straight from the Discovery.
In the Discovery.
It's in the Discovery, and when Bumhauer was telling basically the chain of custody with stuff, because like I said, a bunch of agencies weren't.
Oh, we lost your audio, Alana.
Involved in this like that, and this evidence. And so then it was sent back to Frederick to be in the locker in Frederick.
Yeah, and all Frederick is a storage department. Like, they don't have testing facilities, so it is just an evidence locker. It's not being sent back for any testing.
Yeah, and
so anybody that's like, oh, that's testing, it's not.
Yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't sent there to be tested. It was sent there to be held. It was sent there to go. It's got a number. It's listed. It's here, and where can you find that? Oh, you can find that in storage locker 7, bin 3, like that type of, it's not, but, now, are we sure that the CBI just said we're not going to hold it, or did they also say we're not testing, like, we're not taking this and testing it nor holding it?
Yeah, they said they refused it. They had no interest in testing it. The other item that they returned, sorry, the other items they returned that were of interest. Don't forget, Chris Watts is accused of smothering the children and strangling Shanann, and they returned the fingernail clippings of all three victims, and they returned the palm swabs, so the swabs from the hands of the victims. So anything that could have, um, been exculpatory evidence basically was returned, and they said, we don't want to test that. We're refusing this.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things I covered in the first part of the mock trial when I had
Right.
somebody was I can't remember who the witness was. I think it was that's when Purcell was up there, but just that
Yeah.
they rolled fingerprints at the scene for purposes of identification,
Right.
and with the crime that was said at the time, Chris's statements made. Why? I mean, he's telling you where the bodies are. Supposedly, he told them, this, but tells you what supposedly happened, and we're going to roll prints, okay, at the scene, and then guess what?
Yeah.
Those prints at the scene never they're nowhere to be accounted for, because then at the with the Emmy and at the corners, they then do it again.
Right.
There's like
Exactly.
so
Exactly. And as well, a major component of this that no one talks about, I mean, I covered it before in another video, is the press, like the media, put out there the sheet, the images that everyone around the world here in the UK that we saw on our television screens was this god awful image of this sheet that Shanann was allegedly found in, that was covered in brown stains and all that. No, that's not true. That's false. That's a false narrative. That's not the sheet she was found in. Shanann wasn't found in a sheet. The sheet was blown around Survey. That's allegedly
you can
the sheet. And then what made me think, as somebody who came to YouTube to find answers as a sub, was the creators were making videos using the image of the coroner's sheet as the sheet.
They were.
It made me sick.
Yep.
They're still up there.
Yeah.
Those videos are still up there. They are up there now from big creators with lots of subs. Blood-soaked sheet found a great. No, that's not true. Shanann was removed. Shanann, when she was removed from the grave, okay, Baumhofer said she was not recognizable. He did not visually recognize her as Shanann Watts, okay? So people seem to have this image in their mind that she looked exactly the same. She didn't. And she was in a stage of postmortem.
Those are his words. Those are his, those are
It's in the report. It's in the report.
Yeah. So here, let's talk about this then. Okay, let's say that we got 47 people in here. If you're on because, your jury matters and everything. So if we're on a jury,
right,
and you're, sitting there and you're, in the box there, and you hear at trial that let's just say that there is no, let's say that everything came back negative, nothing was in that truck, how does that, and everybody's going to have their own answer here, but I would love to hear how, if you were on that jury, would that weigh in on any of your thought process to hear when you would hear from an expert and they say there was, zero, DNA, no forensic evidence other than Christopher Lee Watts to ever be in that vehicle. Nothing's in that vehicle. And so how would that play into the fact now, let's say at a trial, you're hearing, experts also then go up next and talk about false confessions and talking about that, all it takes is one thing to not be true of somebody supposedly quote unquote confessing, and it's
Yeah.
considered a false confession.
Right. The whole thing should be thrown out.
Everything about their statement, has to be true.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious, anybody that's, out there that wants to type in, if you were on the jury and if you heard that there was, no DNA, no forensic evidence in that vehicle that tied the children or Shanann, how would that weigh on you as a jury member?
Right. And you have to understand that as a lay person, as somebody that didn't work in a forensic field, he wasn't a police officer, he wasn't law enforcement, he wasn't a firefighter, he didn't have any clue of how to, get away with hiding evidence, with properly cleaning a crime scene. People are so hung up on, oh, but he was in the house all day Monday by himself. Well, no, that's, he didn't have the chemicals or the knowledge to be able to clean a home from or a truck. He didn't have that. And as you say, he didn't access the truck again because it was out on the street and the house was being watched.
Also, I've always said this, you always want to look in the garbage cans of stuff.
Right.
Shanann was a missing person. Bella and Celeste, they were missing people, and the questions should have been asked like, oh hey, did your wife drink, like look at their Starbucks, and oh hey, is this your Starbucks? Did your wife go to Starbucks in the morning? I mean, where are these detectives using an ounce of, I don't know, brains just to like ask, like, they want to, just the questions that I hear them asking, and it's like, the Thrive people literally were calling the police station saying, check the garbage cans in the house to see if, if there's any if there's any wrappers of any Thrive products, because, Shanann would have done her 3 steps. That was like a big, you got people calling in there. That's I think, a pretty good lead to go off of. Yeah, let's see, was the garbage taken out? But, they want to make mention of a book that actually wasn't, it was in the outside garbage, but there was only a couple items in the kitchen.
In the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too, right? See, in regards to Thrive, and you, just because you brought it up, it's in my mind. A lot of people don't realize as well, right? So everybody talks about.
No, guys, we're not. Hold on one second. I want to address this. We're not talking about who's innocent, who's guilty. We're straight up talking about evidence. And if you're a jury member and you hear certain things, how does that play on you? Because after my experiences with the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case, okay, which, guys, he is going to win on appeal, okay? I'm telling you that's going to happen. But to sit there and watch jury members, okay, and I'm in there for a murder trial, okay, and I'm sitting there and I'm hearing certain things, okay, and then they're obviously hearing the same thing I'm hearing, but how are you interpreting it the way that you did versus the way that I did? So, and we're talking about someone's life. Like, we're not talking about, oh, if I get it wrong, I got, I failed a test, or, I got an 80%. Like, no.
Right.
This is someone's life. Okay. And if you hear certain things, if DNA has exonerated people, that have been wrongfully convicted, how can DNA also not, the lack thereof, it should be preventing, certain things from happening.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
You can't say DNA is the be all and end all of evidentiary value and then say, you know what, we don't have any in this case, but you know what, it doesn't matter because we don't like him. You can't do that. And at the end of the day, there's a really popular hashtag with the Avery case that's guessing is not confessing. And I'm sorry, but Christopher
Guessing is
Watt,
not confessing. I
yeah,
love it.
it's
Let's hashtag
not.
that.
He freaking guessed loads of stuff. Forensically, I can tell you now, stuff that he guessed in regards to the way Shanann Watts would look post-mortem is so far from right. He is guessing. He's guessing. Stuff that he said that she looked like. For a start, for one example, he said her eyes were bloodshot. That's called petechiae. When petechiae happens, it doesn't reverse after death. It doesn't go away. Dr. Burson at autopsy noted she had no petechiae. So he lied.
Yeah.
Why would he say that she had burst blood
Well,
vessels in her eyes when she didn't? Because he's guessing.
he lied. I think that a lot of trauma happens over that course. If he was to have done everything. But yeah, I mean, statements aren't adding up. It's just across the board. And then,
Right.
Okay, so now those of you guys that answered that, again, this has nothing to do with who we believe is guilty or innocent, because I'm going to tell you this. I've stated this numerous times. I've never once said that Shanann did anything.
No.
Never once. I simply said that the state of Colorado, Weld County, is shit. I've said that, and I will say that publicly. If somebody is so guilty and such a monster, and this is such an open and closed case, okay, then it should be that open and closed.
Right.
With,
like, guys, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing forensically, right? Shanann Watts was taken out of that grave just after midnight on the Wednesday evening, okay? He was in custody. She was taken out of the grave just after midnight. The girls were the next afternoon, on Thursday afternoon, okay? But let's, focus on Shanann. She was taken out, 20 past midnight. They released the house almost an hour before. What was going to happen if they took her out of her grave and she had a bullet wound? Or they took her out of her grave and she had been stabbed to death? Or she had had a massive head injury and could have been hit with a hammer, and they needed to now go and look for a weapon. They released that house, and DA Rourke stood in front of Judge Kopkai and said, "Oh, just to make you aware, do you know, this is when defense and Watts was in court, do you know, we released the house, and we can't go back in there and look for anything that the defense are asking us to look for." Like, he actually said it out of his own mouth. He said, "We released the house and we can't go back. We can't look for any additional items." So they never in the history, ever in the West, it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
What was the urgency to release the house?
Right.
Think about that. What is the urgency there? There is no urgency to none.
Nope.
What do you mean? Sit a cop out there if you feel like, but what's the urgency to literally not do something right? I mean, what else do you have to do? There's nothing going on in Frederick. Like, come on.
Right, exactly. They said themselves they'd never dealt with anything like this. They set up the command post.
But that's not fair to say, because that's why they brought in the FBI. That's why they brought in this, the CBI. They had multiple agencies on this, but if you actually look at the dates when, certain things were like, okay, we need to keep our good old boys on some of this stuff, because and we need to get Jillian Gantley off of this. We need to do certain things just because this narrative needs to stay intact. And you see the big cluster with the the JonBenet Ramsey case. I don't know if people need to go back to the drawing board with what to do when stuff is like a missing persons, but they treated Shanann, Bella, and Celeste as it was suspicious right from the get-go, according to Weld County, according to Frederick. So they had all eyes immediately on that house and Chris. When they left there that Monday, it's like they left there, okay, well, give us a call and let us know that if she shows back up. That's not how that went down. Not at all. They
No,
had eyes
it
on
was
him.
bizarre.
They watched everything. They weren't just like, all right, well, let's just, head on home. And I'm sure they're probably going to come up. Sure, she's just upset, because they
Right.
had Shanann's phone. And that's the other part that, there's no chain on Shanann's phone. But
Right. And
going
Stacey,
back,
Stacey
so
Galbraith, Stacey asked, didn't she? She said when she arrived at the command post, she asked, was there anything that she could get to work on forensically? And Baumhofer said, well, the missing person's phone is at the home, and it wasn't.
wait, what was that? I'm sorry, I missed that. I was
Um,
listening to something.
I think it was Stacey Galbraith. If I might, I could be incorrect in the person, but a CBI
Yeah,
agent who arrived on
yeah.
Tuesday asked if there was anything that she could get on with forensically at that point. And she was told by Baumhofer in the reports that the missing woman's phone was at the home.
Yeah,
But he
that
didn't.
was
But he
Jillian
didn't say
Gantley.
he had it. Yeah, but he didn't say
Yeah,
he had it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
because she
he
was trying
didn't
to
say,
track
but I've taken
devices.
it.
She was trying to track
Right,
devices, and
right,
I highlighted that wording, and it was like
right.
misleading in a way that right then and there he should have been like, oh yeah, here's her phone,
Here you go. Yeah,
and if you look at the report, you know, and then that was Jillian Gantley. That's who I starred immediately because I noticed that they were keeping, that from her, and that's why if you actually, she's a, and I think that she knows it to this day. She would be a very important witness for the defense. Is her reports and her 38 attachments that basically they needed. Like I said, they couldn't have that. They couldn't have
right,
Jillian Gantley staying on and doing this because she was doing what the gang unit did, which was coming up with this timeline of what they deemed was important over the 6 weeks leading up to the murders. And well, wouldn't it be important to talk about the fact that, I don't know, Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger were on the phone all the time? They weren't hiding this. When people want to say, oh, they were using burners, guys, they were using their personal cell phones after the
right,
point of when they had that email talk and that they weren't going to use, any more work, devices.
right,
They literally talked on the phone and texted and used the calculator app only to store pictures. I mean,
right,
they if you're going to use a burner phone, guys, just a little 101 here for you. You're not going to use a burner phone half of the time and then use your
right,
regular personal phone the other half. That defeats the whole purpose of a burner phone.
right. And Lana, I just
Okay.
want to say, because people are saying in chat, they're not like accusing that this is what we're saying, but they're saying they just can't get on board with Shanann Watts killing the girls. Sorry, did that come out of my mouth? I don't think that came out of my
No,
mouth
no,
because
no.
I've
We're
never
not. No
thought
one.
that.
You guys, we don't think that. Who
No,
says that anybody thinks that? We're
no,
talking about. Okay, we're talking about the fact that could somebody else have committed this crime other than Chris Watts and Shanann? Is that possible? Is
right,
that possible? And
right.
you can ask yourself as a jury member, is that possible? This is not talking about Chris Watts. This is not talking about Shanann. This is talking about the
No,
fact that there is evidence that does not that should be in that truck. Okay, that is not in that truck. And then as a jury member, if I'm hearing this, I think I would be start to scratch my head and say, okay, guys, why wasn't there anything in that truck other than Chris?
right.
How?
Because
Why?
you guys have to remember the version of the discovery that we have, as crappy as it may be, is supposed to be making their case. It's supposed to be making him look shit and making her look good. That's what it's supposed to be. So are you seriously trying to sell it to me that if they had a piece of evidence in their possession that
Favor.
would
Yeah, in
be,
their favor.
yeah, that would be in their favor, that would put her in his truck dead, that or that would link his truck to the murder or the transportation of bodies, that they wouldn't have stood up in court, and instead of talking about aspen trips and utter shit, that they would have turned around and said, well, Judge Kopkow, we have been able to forensically link the sheet that Shanann's body was wrapped in to the back seat of the truck that is Mr. Watt's work vehicle. No, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. There is no biological matter from the deceased in the truck. You think if they had that, they wouldn't have stood up and said, Judge Kopkow, this is what you need to know, sir. Here you go, Your Honor. Of course they would have. He wouldn't have got up and stood and talked in circles about aspen trips and, Googling shit to do with his girlfriend, which wasn't even freaking true for a start. But forget that, even if it was, they wouldn't have been standing up and talking about how shit a husband he was if they could have proved that they had a bit of evidence that showed. If they said, like what Sandy Rusick said, Judge Kopkow, Your Honor, we recovered hair of Shanann Watts from the back floorboard of the truck. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And whoever told Sandra Rusick that is a liar. Because I don't believe that she would just make that up. But whoever told her that is a liar. Because she went on national TV and said they found her daughter's hair in the back. So, and they didn't.
Well,
why would they lie? Why would they lie?
I think it's very safe to say this. Let's say let's say that nobody lied, and let's just say that what's really tough is when you don't live somewhere where this happened. You can't just be down at the police station every day and talking,
right.
But we do have phones. And we do a lot through phones, whether it's text or call and whatnot. We barely do stuff, I feel like, in person anymore. But at the end of the day, let's just take out what anybody could have said. This is what's in evidence in reports. Like this is what's in reports. You can't. How are you going to argue reports? And I mean, you can, but I think that you're going to look like an idiot. But looking at these reports, it is in black and white that you have Chris's truck, and you're trying to get Shanann also in that vehicle. That's not going to be easy. So getting her in there, there's going to be
Look, guys, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced. I think everybody's on board.
I don't think anybody. I think everybody. No one's being there. I'm not getting any bad comments over here.
Yeah, no, it was just Delaney saying I can't be on board with Shanann Watts killing the kids. I just want to make it clear.
But then she said But then she said, if you saw after that, she said, she's like, I can get down with law enforcement fucking everything up.
100%. I just want to make it clear that that's not the narrative I'm talking about. I'm talking about here facts and forensics and science. And I can tell you now, I have lifted many a dead body. And I can tell you now, 140-pound woman is not easy to lift. And 185. Well, yeah, allegedly 140.
No.
Allegedly 140, say even 150, add on 10 pounds, but 185-pound man lifting her alive is one thing, lifting dead weight is another story altogether. Okay, he is not going to move the way he moved out to that truck if he's carrying a body, or even dragging her. You have to understand, it's just not going to happen. And not to mention the fact that we're supposed to believe that she's been dragged downstairs, okay, from upstairs to downstairs, dragged out through a cement floor garage, out through a driveway, and yet there was no post-mortem damage to her body. Stop, guys. Get out of here. It's just nonsense.
I love you, Delaney. I love you. I
You're
love you, Delaney. Yes.
crazy. No,
Yes.
Delaney, like, no, Delaney, honestly, no, like, beef at all with you. I'm just saying, I want to be clear because you know the way people read comments and then they go, oh, did that girl say that? No, I didn't. I didn't say that because it's
No, she
bullshit.
didn't say that.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah.
I love the passion, and the passion just comes from, you have to take yourself emotionally out of this and just ask
Right.
yourself basic questions. And the basic
Right.
questions are, I'd be sitting in that jury deliberation and being like, guys, wait a second here.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, what? There is no footage of him putting them in the truck. Then we go and get the subpoena, and then there's nothing even recorded that day. Did this guy delete stuff? I mean, what's going on here? Why isn't the best friend seen on camera? Why isn't the kid that got on the car seen on camera? I would just be like, literally, what is going on? Like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
How?
Like,
And then why is there, just.
Aunt
And I
Lala's
think
asking her, like, what do
that's
I
the
think
question. I
happened?
think the question is just, how is that not there?
Yeah,
And then
why
you
is it
have to use
missing?
logic. Like, yeah, okay, how is it not there? Why is
Yeah.
it not there? What would be the logical reasons that it wouldn't be there? And the
Yeah,
first
who would
logical thing that
benefit?
comes in my
Who
head
who benefits
is
from making that disappear?
well, I'm
That's
just
what you
saying
need to ask
who
yourself.
I'm saying nothing is disappearing though. I'm
Right.
saying I don't believe it was ever there. So you can't, if
Right.
something's never there, you didn't make it disappear. It just
Right.
never
I
was
agree.
there. Which the first logical thing would come to my mind is, okay, are we sure that this is how they were transported?
No.
I would be, that would come into, my head in terms, especially if Chris has changed his story.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, like Aunt Lala's saying there, like, what do I think? Like, Lala, I've been quite honest about my opinion. I don't think anybody left the house in that truck other than Chris Watts. And
And
I've always said that. And as much as he does stupid shit, and he says stupid shit, I don't think he's that stupid that he knew that camera was there. And the one thing we can all agree on, that guy was head over heels in love with NK, and he would
yeah, let
never
me
have.
bring that up. Let me bring something up with that. Okay.
Yeah,
So at first with the whole NK thing, because I think people
yeah,
could get their heads around this. Okay. So think about Chris's track record. Okay. Think about Chris's track record while
yeah,
he's been in prison. Let's think about this. His track record while being in prison is wait a second. He is supposedly stating that he didn't go forward with a 35C. This is what these people want. He didn't go forward with a
yeah,
35C because of Kim G, who he's never met in person. Okay. Like,
right,
oh my God, I'm in love with this person, all this stuff. And you're just not gonna fight for your freedom then to be with this
right.
person? Like, where is okay, and then there's Anna, okay? And then so is it outside of the scope? He's saying he doesn't want to go forward with a 35C because he wants to protect his family and this woman, Kimberly G,
Right,
because they're getting harassed, okay? Because the outside
right.
world or whatever. Now let's think about this. You don't think that at the time he would have protected NK? Think about the psyche of that. Like, that's
Yeah,
exactly what Chris would do. That's his MO. His
right,
MO is he falls fast and acts like a fucking moron.
right.
Like, I mean, and but where was this MO? This is the question though. Where was this MO prior to, for 8 years you were with Shanann, right?
Right.
And the thing is though, was Chris ever left alone prior to that ordeal? And he was, because she would go on trips without him, you know, for those getaways for, you know, however many days it was. But I mean, why wasn't Chris, when she was going away, like being bored on Facebook and sliding in people's DMs? If he, you know, I'm just curious, like, but the psyche, like, surrounding when people are going to be like, would Chris cover for Nicole Kessinger? And the answer to that is, I've witnessed it firsthand speaking with Chris, and without a doubt, that would be something he would do.
Right.
Because, I mean, look at this. If you want to go off of this narrative, which is, he ended his 35C for Kimberly Griffith, who he's never met, who he will never have sex with. Okay, who is what? I mean, like, what are you Kimberly doing? Okay, if you love somebody, aren't you trying to be with them, like, outside of prison?
Well, here's the thing, you know, right? No, but here's the thing. I have security on my house, and I have a Ring door cam, right? And if I was to leave here right now and go, say, for example, I was to phone right now, I put down the phone from you, phone my lover and go, hey, lover, come over. Larry's at work. Come over and see me, right? I'm going to say to him, come in the back door because there's no camera there, right? I'm not going to say to my lover, who I love and who I'm in a love relationship with, yeah, come to the front door, so that later when Larry sees that, he wants to knock his shit in. Like, if you're completely in love with someone and you know there's a camera there, you're not going to turn around and be like, yeah, walk on out there in front of the camera. Like, hello, people, engage your brains. We all agree that he loved NK. He was obsessed with her. He loved her. There's no way he's going to.
I think they were both obsessed.
Oh, I agree. I think she was.
I think they were both in, like, that, like, they were in that, like, high school, like,
right.
You know,
yeah.
Just.
I agree.
Oh my God, the parents went away for the weekend, and now, like, that type of.
Yeah. But I do think there's no way he knew that camera was there, right? And people go, oh, but he backed the truck in. Right, let me tell you, let's clear up another load of shit before we wrap up. People keep saying, right, he backed this truck up, okay? Right, here's the thing. See, for the 6 weeks or the 5 weeks, whatever it was, while Shanann was away in North Carolina, there was break-ins, 2 vehicles in the area. Baumhover, it's in the discovery, Baumhover confirms that is true. He's also talked about it since on his blog thing that he did, that his podcast thing, whatever it was. He said that was true. Chris wasn't lying. Now, what you have to remember is the Ruseks have said, oh, as soon as we heard that he backed the truck up, we knew, right? We knew that that's what it was. We knew that something bad had happened. But what you don't, and then also Mr. Rusek Sr. said, in all the time that we stayed with him, never once did he back that truck up. But that's all well and good, and that may well be the truth. But they weren't there, and neither was Shanann the previous 5 weeks.
Wait, but how about this? You have the Ring and you have the next door neighbor's cameras.
Right.
All you would do is because you can go back so many, months on certain people's stuff.
Yeah.
Look and see if Chris Watts ever backed up the truck prior to that day.
Right.
But this is all getting into the investigative, like, the part of it that they weren't at, so I'll give them that. Like, they weren't at that point. They were just gathering people's statements, gathering everything, and then they're going to dissect it. And that's what I basically did. I took everything and then put it into that investigative, state of mind. And then, okay, here, this is where all of your discrepancies are. And the investigation would have shown, like it did for me, it would have shown these morons. There's so many things that have discrepancies here. And when you have discrepancies, that means, and I don't want to use the term like lying or whatever. I like to use now the term discrepancies. There's discrepancies in people's stories. There's discrepancies in basically, people's statements. And, but you can't say that there's discrepancy in evidence when you're talking about forensics being there or not being there.
Right. Right.
Either it was there or it's not. So, but going back to people wanting to know about NK and their let's just do this. If you're on the jury and I'm sitting there and I'm hearing all this and I say to my other 11, okay guys, I can't get past this truck. Chris is over here saying he didn't do it, and let's just say that that's what he would go with, that he didn't do it. The kids never left with me. The reason I knew where they were is because this person told me. Let's just say that that's what he ends up going with.
Right.
Now, okay. At some point, did they ever think to ask Nicole Kessinger, we want to process your vehicle?
I mean, it would make sense.
Just think about it. I mean, did they ever go into her residence? Because at the time, you got missing children, and you find out that he has a mistress prior to him ever announcing where the bodies were and they were recovered and everything like that. Prior to all of this, you find out basically on Tuesday, which I can prove because it's in one of the reports from Longmont Police.
Yeah.
You knew about Nicole Kessinger and that you knew that he had a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, they were aware of him.
A serious whatever. Yeah, I mean, you got to be thinking at that point. I mean, is this woman trying to get rid of bodies? Is she trying to do this? Were those kids? I mean, did she have something to do with it? We want to process your vehicle. None of those things happened, guys. They didn't go in her home. They didn't go in her apartment, and they sure shit didn't go anywhere near her vehicle. Or if they did, it's not in the discovery that was given to us. And if I'm on the jury and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if Chris didn't transport the children or his wife because there's no evidence of that, well, then how did they get where they got? How did they get there?
Right.
They didn't fly there, And ultimately, that would lead anybody with a brain, okay, if this guy is saying he didn't, transport them, didn't do that, the evidence backs that statement up.
Exactly.
And there's no way around that. So if Chris was to say, I did not transport my children or my wife, okay, I'm a coward ass and, yada, 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 and I was covering for somebody. I'm just saying, if he was to say these things and this was to be part of his new confession or whatever, then you have to really ask yourself, well, wow, does that make some sense about there not being any evidence in the truck? Does that make some sense into where maybe Nicole Kessinger was that morning? Does that make some sense into could that fit? And could it fit that? I mean, I was told, and again, take this for what you want to take it for, because I told Dylan I was taking it for, a grain of salt. But he was swearing up and down to me, and I mean, I have it on record, because there's some things that I wouldn't let him go on my channel and talk about, and this is one of them. He said that they were flying the drone over, Survey 319.
Right.
And prior to him, giving his confession, which is true, which is accurate. That's not a lie. And that when Tammy Lee comes back in the room, that's when she lays down the piece of paper, and that's when she's like, we need it to be on camera that you're pointing to the locations. And that's when you see, if you go back and you want to watch Netflix and see this like clips or whatever. And what Dylan is claiming is that Chris was told where the bodies were, and then he was just pointing to them on that piece of paper.
Right.
And I said, for fuck's sake, it's just like, and then that's when he was saying that anybody could have told Chris that, but not even that. He was trying to, his version is that law enforcement told Chris where everything was, and was wanting him to then confirm it.
But Lana, here's the thing. People say to me in comments all the time for the last year about Chris knowing where the bodies were, but it's a completely irrelevant point, because in regards to guilt or innocence, because he had free movement and access to phones and computers on Monday, Tuesday, and most of Wednesday. He could have been told or shown where the bodies were at any point.
Without a doubt. Absolutely. And how about this? Why doesn't anybody ever talk about this? If Nicole Kessinger just shows up that day unannounced when he's vacuuming and soaping up his carpets, okay? When she walked up to the door, she would have been on the Ring camera.
Right.
Okay. And guess who gets those notifications too? Guess who was stalking the Ring camera? Shanann.
Right.
Okay, Shanann was stalking everything. All right? That's how she knew that he wasn't coming. Like, that's how she knew that something was, quote unquote, she thought off with, what she, like, the motion sensors, because she said, hey, how did you possibly come back when it showed me that you never left?
Right.
Like, she was catching him because of the way, and I broke that down in one of my videos. Just that, like, the garage door wouldn't open before the inside garage door. Makes sense? If you're in the house, the way that it's going to happen is you walk out the door that gets to the garage, and that's going to set off an alert. Just like what they're, because that's their security system. And then you hit the button to open up the garage. It has to happen in that order in order for then you to go get into your truck. Okay? You cannot open up the outside door before you open up the inside door.
Right.
And if it happens in that order, then it's like you're coming home. So Chris was trying to be slick about things, but then didn't process at the time, and then switched it up. The order of this has to be a certain way. So like when you sneak out the basement, it's like you're still home, right? Well, guess what you have to do, Chris? You have to sneak back in through that way. You cannot come back home and open up an outside garage door before you open up the inside garage door, because it's going to be shown in that order. And someone like Shanann is like, well, wait a second. Why is the outside garage door opening before the inside door? Like, why?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, that's...
And what people don't realize either, and it was one of the first videos that I did because I hadn't heard anybody talking about it, is that in the Discovery, there is 2 other white truck sightings in the Discovery that were not followed up on by the Frederick Police Department or by the CBI, unless they did and didn't put it in the Discovery, for which reason would be absurd. So, and one of those sightings is 6 minutes away by car from Saratoga Trail, and was 25 minutes before Shanann Watts got home. And it was a woman who I later found out was the wife of a police officer, not from Frederick, but another police officer. She is a police officer's wife, and she was driving and saw a white large SUV parked at the side of the road on it's called, I think, Weld County Road 3.25, and she was parked The car was parked there as she drove past at 1:30 in the morning, so 20 minutes before. And she, being a police officer's wife, whatever it was about that vehicle, worried her enough that she lifted the phone and phoned in the tip. And on the Sunday, the day before Shanann returned home that night, there was a sighting of a white vehicle in Estes Park, and the gentleman who um, called it in and said that he spoke with the gentleman who was driving the vehicle. He was an older man who looked like Chris Watts and who was asking questions about a trail with a map. And this man thought that it was very suspicious and he called that in. And that was on the same day, but earlier on, than this large white SUV of the same description was called in, waiting at the side of the road 6 minutes away from Saratoga Trail. So no one ever speaks about that. They're too busy talking about these fucking trucks that are bloody Betty's talking about.
Well, I want to bring up something that somebody is saying. The Vivint was not malfunctioning. Okay.
No, that's another
This needs to be addressed. If you have been listening to KK, okay, KK is trying to tell everybody that the Vivint was malfunctioning, and that is 100% not the case. Okay. That is what Chris was saying. Okay. And if you, maybe I'll redo this episode that I did about this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying those things. Okay. Because of the order, like I just said, on how he was coming home after spending the night at NK's. Okay. Then he would come home and it would be in the reverse order. Well, then it must have not caught me when I left. You know what I mean? That type of stuff.
Right.
Or it must have done this, or blah, blah, blah. And then when and it's proven, if your Vivint was malfunctioning, okay, in the reports that the gang unit did, they tracked his calling of Vivint, okay? And I said to myself, okay, the first time he says this to Shanann, she says, you better call Vivint or I'm going to be, before she was hot about it. And he doesn't do it. That's when I realized that she was watching the phone records, because she's telling him, because she makes a phone call before to say, hey, you haven't called them yet. And because then immediately he gets off the phone with her and he calls Vivint. All right. Because then he has to start registering these calls, because she's checking the phone records.
Right.
And it's very obvious if you actually sit down and look at it, but you have to dissect it enough to look at it that way. The Vivint was not malfunctioning.
No.
Okay? He had to tell that to her because of him not coming home and spending the night. Like, he was not spending the night at his home. He was spending the night elsewhere. As far as taking the ring apart or, messing with stuff, to disable that, you can use your app to do a bunch of things. That's gonna notify the other person that's connected. Like, if me and you had the ring and we're married and I'm over here on the app messing with stuff and disabling cameras, you'd be like, because it shows up in your log. It shows up in the log. Hey, why did you disarm this? What are you doing? Like, that's what I'd be saying to you. Like, what's going on here? And then he would be saying things like, I didn't do it. I don't know. Something's going on here, man. Like, these alerts aren't right. This is wrong. I mean, what do you think the guy's going to say? Oh, yeah, it's because I'm having this girl come over, or I'm leaving to go bang this chick. Like, no, he's not going to say that.
Right, but Lana, not even that. Again, when we're talking about having slam dunk evidence and talking shit in the courtroom, Rourke would have got up and said, and you know what, Judge Kopkow, Your Honor, here's the Vivint logs that show that the defendant was pissing about with the Vivint and trying to hide his movements and disabling cameras and pissing
You
about
guys,
and trying to, yeah, they would have used that
Aunt
against him.
Lala, Aunt Lala, you can't just mess with the Vivint, okay? You can't just like mess with things without, okay, we're talking about a smart device. I did an episode about this.
Yeah.
Your application, like you can unlock your home. I could be 300 miles away and I could hit a button and I could open up the door for you to get into my house. Okay, but that's going to register on the log front door open, and then it
Right.
also can register what device did it, which person did it. If you have multiple codes for multiple people that live in your house, or if you all just operate under the same number, it tells you everything. So to mess with something that is going to be an alert and a login,
Yeah.
that is not going to just be that Shanann wouldn't know about that. You
No.
can't just
I mean,
mess with something.
I got
And
an
if
alert.
she
I
just
got an alert
showed up,
2 days ago. I got an alert on mine that Larry was messing with ours, and as soon as I clicked the live button, there he was pissing about with it. And then I got an alert saying he had changed my access settings, and I was like,
no,
"What are you
that
doing?"
info is wrong.
Do you know what I mean? Like the
Um,
text, you get an alert right away if you are able, anyone who is able to access information about that Vivint system, i.e., Shanann, Chris, maybe, the dad when he lived there had it connected, they will all get a ping saying the main person who's in charge has made a change to the setting or has disabled a camera or has disabled an access point. So you can't do
yeah,
that without knowing.
exactly. Everything that you do when you have smart, devices and when you have
Yeah,
smart surveillance, there's a log.
right.
Okay, and Chris didn't even know half of the shit that was capable of doing, to the point that he's like, oh, I couldn't go back that far to check and to see, like, because there was just so many comings and goings.
No.
He's asked, well, did you go back and look? Did you see this? So let's go back to the time that NK would have supposedly she just showed up there. Remember this? Like, I'm showing up there, and he was like shampooing his carpets. Do you recall this? Well, when
Yeah.
she arrived, he had like the furniture all moved around, and he basically said, "Here, like, come in the other way or whatever." Well, if she at least got up to that door, to the point like you saw where the ring kicks in, watch the video of Shanann coming home, okay? And that night, where does the ring pick up? And it picks up not when she's at the door, it picks up prior to, there's two different spots where the ring picks up. It picks up as you're approaching it, and then as you like touch the door. Like there's two different, you know, notifications. And if Nicole Kessinger would have pulled in that driveway and got out of her vehicle and started to walk towards the front door, that is
Right.
going to pick up on, and it's going to be an alert. And it's not just going to be an alert to like Chris. I mean, both cell phones get these alerts. And it's clear as day. It's not, this is not, it shouldn't be new news. Shanann was constantly watching that application. She was going in on that app and watching everything. Um, and if he was to go and delete that, I mean, once again, why did you delete that? You know what I mean? Like, these are all, everybody should also know that Shanann was a manager of a cell phone place. Like, you're not a manager of a cell phone store and not know Like, it's 101. If you ever want to catch someone cheating, you don't need their phone to do it, guys.
No.
As long as they're on your phone plan, you go into your phone log on the internet, www.verizonwireless.com. You have a login, you have a password, and then it's in real time. You don't have to wait a month to see your phone records from the previous month. No, you go to real time, okay? And in real time, you can see your current usage. And when you hang up the phone with somebody, it may take a couple minutes to register, but within minutes, it's going to show you who that person just called, how many minutes it was for, if it was an incoming or outgoing, and it's going to tell you where the person that's on your phone plan, where they were when they received the phone call or made the phone call. So if that person's supposed to be at work and they get a phone call and it shows they're supposed to be working in Columbus, and it shows, oh, well, it popped up and showed, Cleveland. That means that
Right.
person that's on your phone plan, that call originated off of a tower in Cleveland, Ohio. And if they're
Right.
telling you that they're at work, that's a lie. So you don't have to wait a month to get these phone records. You literally can stalk your mate if you would like. So, ladies, stop trying to get into guys' phones. You do not have to. Now, if you are just dating somebody and you're clearly not on the same phone plan, then, you might just have to work on your stalking skills. But at that point, you shouldn't even be in a relationship.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so, did Shanann even return from Arizona? No flight logs have been seen. Well, I mean, she is on camera, unless that's not the night. But yeah, I mean, I do believe that Shanann returned.
Yeah, but here's the thing
Um,
about that, which is bizarre in regards to um in oh, did you drop by? Did we lose her? Have we lost Lana? Are you back? Where did you go?
hey, sorry about that.
Was I boring you?
No, my thing just popped off. I don't know what it's doing.
No, I was just gonna say here's the thing. Here's the thing about the airport, right? Any other missing persons case in the States or in Europe, someone goes missing, the big thing for the media is to get out the last seen images, and that would be the airport. Like, there's security cameras everywhere. It would have showed even them picking up the vehicle, and even just in the arrivals hall, like it would have shown. Like, if she, it's bizarre that the media did not ask for footage from the airport, because this woman just arrived back to a building that is covered in security cameras. Covered. And it's bizarre. And yeah, people can say, well, that's because she was caught on Nate's camera. But regardless, it's very unusual that they wouldn't have shown, well, look, here's her arriving back into Colorado. This is what she was wearing. She seemed to be in good spirits or not or whatever. There was none of that. There was none of that. In regards to being a missing person, that's bizarre. Even for it to be missing from the discovery is bizarre.
Well, yeah, I've always said that, but I've always said in the beginning, we're talking about a missing person. What news outlets really try to do when you have a missing person is get the last footage of them, the last picture, and
Right.
they get it out there. And she
Right.
was in two major airports. So you're going to have footage from Arizona, you're going to have footage from Colorado. And you would get that out there. And, that just didn't happen. And with the technology that we have today and even in 2018, that was, you know, I'd be more or less demanding that, if I was, a parent of a missing person. But
Right.
I think immediately, I mean, the family was I mean, the family as well as the friends, everybody was zeroed in, on Chris. So, and it's just like a detective. It's just like anybody. When you get zeroed in on something, that's just where it was, and there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. I mean, uh, but that's just how, unfortunately, how things go. But it should have been, if the family wants to hone in on that and the friends and stuff, that's fine and dandy. But you, as law enforcement, as media, I mean, you know how they just hound stuff. Like, let's
Right.
get this. Like, let's do a right to know. Let's do, get your hands on stuff. I just can't believe that nobody went after that airport footage.
Me neither.
Um,
I can't believe that all of those, like Denver 7, everybody else, didn't have a connect in DIA that could have found footage of Shanann.
um,
You know, it's just
yeah, look at that.
bizarre.
Yeah, so it's if I'm just on the jury, if I'm on the jury and I'm hearing things like no forensic evidence in that
Right.
vehicle, and if I'm on the jury and I'm hearing a version of, you know, that Chris now stating that he was just covering for somebody or this, that, or the other, in terms of that, regardless on who the person would be, regardless, I'm just saying, if Chris was to say he didn't do it and there was no physical evidence tying, you know, him to any of this, how, as a jury member, how are you not like, oh shit?
Well, yeah, but you can't wind back. You can't unring the bell that happened when the media just ran with he confessed to all three when he didn't. You can't unring that bell. And I said that in my lives before. You, regardless of where you stand on was he innocent, guilty, partially guilty, completely did it all by himself. And at that point, there wasn't a confession of all three, and that's what the media ran with. And what was the most shocking of that was that, according to one of Shanann's best friends, being Lauren Arnold, that she said that Sandra preempted that the media were going to run with that false narrative. That Sandra called her and said, "You're going to turn on the news soon in the next hour and you're going to see that Chris has confessed to all three, but he hasn't." And when I heard that, I was like, what the fuck? How did she know beforehand that they were going to run with that? So I don't know how true that is. I don't know if that's Lauren picking things up wrong. I don't know if that's, whatever. But that's what Lauren said to the CBI in September 6th
I
interview.
interviewed Lauren.
Yeah. And
Lauren,
did she tell
Lauren,
you that? Did she tell you
Lauren,
that?
yeah, Lauren met with CBI. They took two phones because she was using two separate phones because at one point her phone had
Right.
died and she had to start using her boyfriend's. But the thing that Lauren said that no one has ever said before is, and it's true. She said they were all on like three-way calls that day. They were on three-way with Chris. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, wait, back up a second. She's like, I was like, who told you this? And she's like, well, you know, NA, Cassie, like they were on three ways. And so, and what she means by that is, let's say me and you're on the phone right now, and okay,
Right.
I'm going to call Chris and see what the hell's going on. So I keep you on the phone. I add in the call with him. You're listening to the whole thing, but you're muted. Okay.
Right.
And so therefore, okay, that just happened. Now it just looks like, NA called, Chris. But now
Right.
if you actually go back and you watch NA struggle to know when she called Chris versus, oh, no, he called, no, I called. It's because those calls were not in her call log because she was on three ways. So when Sandy was calling, her, Cassie, Sandy, all on three way, then they add Chris in. Everyone's muted except for the person that's supposed to be, the call from. So you can see it, like NA is struggling to get through okay, wait, no, this is the one I call. Wait, no, that was because that was when that person called. So those, if you try to reference your personal phone log, if you didn't make the outgoing call, it's not going to be there.
No, of course not.
And so Lauren was the one that said they were on three-way phone calls with Chris. I said, Chris knew he was on three-way, and she said, no. Well, I don't know, maybe. I mean, this is what she was saying. I was like, so he knew or he didn't? Like, he was just... And she's like, well, that's how they found out that there was different stories. And I'm like, interesting. Just like, I'm just letting her talk. She was very forthcoming. And then the other thing she said is, I really think you need to look into NA's flight, because I remember talking to her because I asked her why she didn't take Shan straight home from the airport that night. Like, where'd you guys go? What were you doing? And she was like, I don't think that NA and Shanann were on the same flight because NA was on an earlier flight.
Right.
And I said, well, I can prove that the GPS didn't leave from the airport and go to Shanann's and then from Shanann's to her house. It picked up, it was the round trip should have been 41 miles and it was only 29. So we're missing 11 miles, and the 11 miles comes out. So you have to take it from the airport and go 11 miles out, do a circle radius around that. Right. Then you have to see the path that she would have taken to go home, and it pinpoints exactly where they would have been 11 miles out when actually her phone, because they were using that 360 Life app, where it registered. And, I'll leave it at that because it just gets too much in depth with stuff. But
right.
What Lauren was basically saying, though, is that they were all on 3-ways and 4-ways, and then she told me that it was Cassie that called the police, and then it was NA that did the talking. But Cassie was the one, right. And I was like, Cassie called the police. But if you think about it, if they're all on 3-way and
3-way,
and she's just like, okay, well, I'm going to be the one that calls them, but you did the talking, why doesn't anybody go try to get the 911 call and see what phone number actually did the call?
Right. Well, Lauren couldn't have been any clearer. Her interview with Agent Zentner was recorded and it's in the discovery. And she said very clearly on September 6th, when she went to the CBI offices, she said, Sandra Rusek called me and said, on the Wednesday evening, you're about to see the news. It's going to say that Chris has confessed to all 3, but it's not. All he knows about at this stage is all he's saying is where they are. He hasn't confessed to anything. And but the news is going to run with he's confessed to all 3. And what happens? The news ran and he confessed to all 3 on the news. So how did Sandra Rusek know that?
Talk about our morning tea.
Morning tea?
It is hotter than a whale's vagina. It is so humid. I can't even breathe.
No, I bet you it's worse here. We're just not used to this weather at all.
Like, this is just, woo! Just blowing me to bits. Just blowing me to bits over here.
What's your morning tea?
We have no... I was trying to look back. My morning tea is just, some water. Atlanta, why were the gang squad surveilling Chris? They were surveilling the house as well as Chris because they labeled it all suspicious circumstances surrounding this missing person. It's not just a mom. It was a mom and 2 children, a mom that's pregnant. No medication was taken. The cars there, the car seats are there. it was just labeled all as very suspicious. And so immediately, you know, they watched that house and they watched Chris's every move. Also, the Rusiks were pretty adamant right away that Chris, did something. And it was super weird that she's saying oil. I mean, that was just really. I tried to move all of that for you. Did you? Oh my god, look at those little Cokes.
No, I executed.
All right.
Oh shit! I almost forgot something really important.
Oh, what's that? Some sunscreen?
No, trivia shit. But
oh yeah, just some of those questions. How about some? Do you have any sunscreen? We're gonna fry our asses out there.
Let me go check.
Trivia shit.
And some bug spray.
Bug spray. I don't know if I can do.
Okay. The gang squad. What are you talking about? The gang squad. The gang squad wasn't involved with anything until, after Chris was arrested and all that good stuff. There was no. All they did was have. They were rotating on who was watching the house. There's notes in there. They kept track of any cars that drove by. They kept track of the license plate number. I mean, and it's funny, they whited out everything to do with NA.
Right.
Anytime she strolled around. Because the reason what they were doing that for was to show how accurate the 360 Life app was. That's why they had to block out her time stamps, because it was showing how accurate. And they were going to try to pull off, oh, that thing would have just been off a little bit. No, it's not. Sorry. Why did Sandy call the daycare? Why didn't they get a cell phone dump on Sandy, NA, and all parties involved? That would have all happened, guys. That definitely would have happened. That's part of the investigation point of it. And we don't have all of the discovery, so there's nothing that says that didn't happen. If you go and you check the different dates that stuff was put into reports, they waited weeks. Okay, I'm talking they waited until October to go ahead and put NA's son and NA's stuff into quote unquote an official report. Meanwhile, that stuff happened, obviously 8/13 and 8/20 when they were interviewed.
There's loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff up timing wise that doesn't make sense. They interviewed everyone who saw Chris on the Monday evening on the 13th at his home. So the two guys, and they interviewed everyone who came into contact with him was interviewed within 2 or 3 days. They didn't interview Lauren Arnold until the 6th of September. 6th of September. And she was in the home on that Monday.
Yeah. Well, and that's a breakdown. That's a breakdown in who's in charge of the investigation. And that's
right. There's too many.
But also this, you have to look at the people that were questioned and interviewed or whatever. Mm-hmm. They were calling the police department. Okay. Addie, Sam,
right. Cindy,
there. Yeah, everybody was calling the police department. You can't find any records, at least I couldn't, of Lauren Arnold calling the police department.
No.
So that's why, they forced themselves upon yeah, I want to talk to somebody. Yeah, call me back. I want to talk to somebody. So those people from LaBelle were they were making phone calls to the police department. Yeah, LaBelle.
Gotta get me some LaBelle.
I don't know. People say, why didn't Sandy get on a plane, or why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? As far as them getting on planes and stuff, I think everybody handles stuff, differently. So to me, I don't really like to talk about that. It's that has nothing to do with what I broke down with the case.
Right.
You could say the same thing about why didn't Cindy get on the plane? Why did only Ronnie come? You know, I would give two shits about. I don't give a shit, Chris, what you've said. My two granddaughters are missing. I'm getting on a plane. Go fuck yourself.
Right.
You know, so that can work both ways. So that's, well, but Chris, did, you know, told me he just wanted his dad or whatever. Chris, I don't give a fuck what you want. My two grandbabies
Right.
are missing. Bye-bye. Like, I don't care what you want. You know,
Yeah.
So I just think all of that type of stuff, though, that's just the dynamic of their, you know, everybody forgets that they're living in Colorado. Everybody else is in North Carolina. And it's also like a surreal thing. And you're just like, you're like, wait, what? Like, you're in shock. And at the beginning, I'll tell you, the Watts family, nobody's thinking. And if anybody's out there going to say that, oh, immediately when they were like, when I tried to call Shanann and I didn't get a hold of her and she didn't get back to me within 30 minutes, that they were like, oh, this is what the outcome would have been, then they're lying. That's not, no.
Right.
You would never think that this would ever be the outcome, especially if there's not a bad word that anybody could say about Chris.
No bug spray.
Oh, what do we got here? Oh, yeah, Hawaiian sunscreen. Perfect. Let's just pour that on ourselves. Yeah,
well,
but
you girls
money's always going to play up.
Are you guys heading
okay,
off
you out,
to
baby
TL?
girl? I'll talk to you soon. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Well, yeah, you guys have fun on the green. Enjoy the golf.
We will be having fun on the golf course here.
Yeah, send me some photos.
I will. Love you, Dani. You know that, girl. I'll be talking to you soon, babe.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye, babe.
Can't put this in your glove compartment.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely won't get.
Boom.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Great chat, ladies. Oh, you know it. Couple last questions, and I'm gonna wrap this up. Mod Squad, love you. Oh, bye, Lala. Lala, you going to amusement park? Oh, that looks like a beautiful banana.
Do you want some?
No. No, I don't.
Are you sure you were thinking about it?
I was thinking about it.
Something wrong with my stomach lately. I don't know what it is.
You're on live chat.
Well, they can know too. Eat more fruit, guys. Good for your stomach.
Oh boy. Lana, you've done a great job at covering this case. Thank you very much. Just the big part about talking about today was the forensics, and after going through, the Jeter case sitting in that courtroom, I like to think that I could reflect on things, and the biggest thing that I was trying to reflect on is if I was a juror in that courtroom, how would I have seen things? And then if I was a juror in the Christopher Lee Watts case, if it ever got to that point, how would I look at there being no forensics in his work truck with the details saying that the work truck was used? And I'd have a huge problem with that. That would be a really real big humdinger for me. Muffy, I told you to change your name, damn it. Muffy, if you don't change your name, damn it, I'm going to time you out. Can I be juror 1 through 12 so I can mean something? Yeah, just change your name. Become a juror. Again, the other part that everybody needs to really think about is Chris Watts' track record with relationships. And if he truly canceled a 35C in his eyes due to Kimberly G being quote unquote harassed by online trolls, then you should be able to wrap your head around the fact that Christopher Lee Watts would cover for Nicole Kessinger, because that's logic. Now, would I do either one? Fuck no. But Chris, like, what's his track record? And he falls quick. He thinks he's in love. That thought process is just totally out of my wheelhouse, to think that if that person is in love with you back, wouldn't they want you? Wouldn't they want to love somebody that wasn't a confessed triple murderer? I mean, I don't. It just blows my mind. No, but I just love you to death. I just want you to stay in prison and never have sex with you. That's
The goal.
That sounds like an amazing life for Kimberly G. What the fuck? That's insanity right there. She needs to be vetted. Again, regardless on who did what, the thought process behind Kimberly G saying that people are blowing out her SUV, throwing rocks in windows, slashing tires, and that she is being profusely trolled by Roger and Jay for Justice is just, and I just need you to cancel this 35C, Chris. Okay. Sign me up. Sign me up for that. Bunch of horse shit. Seeking the non-facts. Say Atlanta. I can't even. You can't help who you love, I suppose. Yeah, but you can't help who you love. That's all fine and dandy. But it's definitely not now out of the wheelhouse to think that if he, again, this is what they want you to believe. If you want to believe this, that's up to you. That he is not going forward with his 35C because Kimberly G is being harassed. Okay, so therefore he is not going to use the best attorneys in Colorado to, win a 35C and get all these answers, because somebody that he's never met in his life, but who he's Zoomed with a handful of times, never had sex with, never kissed, never seen in the flesh, but because she is being harassed by Roger and his following and the internet trolls underground on Facebook, then it is not out of the wheelhouse to think that Chris would cover for Nicole Kessinger. I'm just saying that's logical thinking if that is true. Good Lord. Good Lord. Who cares about whose feelings? I don't give a shit about anybody's feelings. I'm just talking about what's logical to a person. And it has to do with their MO. It has to do with how they normally would respond in situations. And clearly, if he, is going to end all efforts on his behalf because of Kimberly G, and, he loves her and he doesn't want her being harassed, then I think that if he loved Nicole Kessinger the way that he told her, then I think that he would, without a doubt, cover for her. Because that's just logical to him. Not to me, to him. Oh, Mod Squad. Oh. Feelings sometimes get hurt with the truth. It's just, I mean, those are facts. Them's the facts. I love you. All I want to do is zoom. Are you totally ready for this? We get to have steak dinner afterwards. My company is sponsoring one of the holes at the golf outing. And this is my favorite event of the year. And so we get our little golf cart and we're just going to have a blast of a time out there. Mad sun coming. Nobody cares about Anne Kimberly. The self-importance is hysterical. Yeah, how about this, Kimberly G? Walk away. Just walk away. Like, walk away. Wouldn't you do that? If you were getting harassed, like, walk away. Walk away. That's all you gotta do.
Totally. I run from crazy bitches.
Yeah, like you sprint. Like, for, like, why? I would be, you're married. Run away to your husband. Just don't get it. Oh, Kim G's feelings, it was a joke. Yeah, they have no, some people, like, what's logical to me could be not logical to you, right? Like, okay, I could have gotten you Ubered and just sat up there at the Holiday Inn and just, like, chilled, I guess.
Yes.
But I was like, that's not logical. I have all this extra time. I'm just going to go pick up my cousin and,
yeah,
and save
chill
myself.
in my driveway.
Yeah, chill in the driveway and save myself a $20 Uber. But now, if I was running late, I'd Uber your ass because I'm not going to, like, sweat it. Like, that's just logic. 101 logic. If you knew there was a camera on your house,
yes,
would you ever commit a premeditated murder knowing that there's a camera on your outside of your house?
If I knew there was a camera on my house?
Yeah. Would you ever commit premeditated murder if you knew there was a camera on your outside house?
I mean, I wouldn't
and you have to
commit premeditated murder regardless, but if there was a camera on my house, no.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get somebody else to do it.
There you go. 101. Logic. Let's talk about some other logic. Here's another logic. Logic. Now, if I wanted answers, or like my parents wanted answers, or I wanted answers, or whatever, because I don't know what the shiz is going on. You, as an inmate, can get you can seek to talk to somebody in there that is not against regulations. So if there's things that you want to remember, and if you can't remember them, I mean, you're in life in prison, wouldn't you just get that treatment, go seek that person, and talk to that person once a week? And
rephrase the question.
Okay, the question is, if you have access to a therapist, basically,
yes,
would you utilize that person in prison? Yeah, wouldn't you? Yeah. So why wouldn't you?
I don't know, maybe if you're one of those people that doesn't believe in therapy, doesn't think it can help.
And who needs therapy if you're going to be life in prison, right? But if you can't remember something, what would you do about it?
Is it something that could help my case? When it comes,
yeah, I mean,
then yeah.
If you can't remember if you did a crime or not, what'd you do?
I would do anything to help my case or help an appeal or help anything.
Now,
if that means talking to a therapist, then yes, I would do that.
Okay. Now, what if this hot guy came along and started being your pen pal, and he's sending you pictures of himself, and then you start Zooming with him, and knowing that you can never have a conjugal visit, like you're never going to have sexual intercourse with that person ever. What would you do? Like, and if he was like, listen, I'm going to stay with you for the rest of my life. I'm going to be your emotional support system. I'm going to love you forever and ever. But
put money in my commissary.
I'm going to put money. Yep. I'm going to send you these nudes. You just got to stop this 35C because I'm getting harassed. You got to stop this motion. That means, and you're just like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a deal. Like, that means don't go forward with trying to get out of prison, even if you're innocent.
I wouldn't understand why they would ask me to do that. Like, I honestly wouldn't understand if somebody was
okay. So would
like,
yeah, like what's your like?
Why do you want me to stay in prison?
Yeah. So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
If you were being harassed, would you tell the person that's in prison? Would you like let them even know that to like deter them from going on that path? Like, or would you just suck it up like any fucking other American and deal with the stupid trolling bullshit?
I mean, I would probably lay low for a little bit. Like, I would, keep talking to the person, but I would maybe not tell so many people that I was communicating with them if I wanted, my privacy.
Yeah. So you wouldn't go live on a YouTube channel.
No.
And be like telling people that you're in a relationship with somebody to then bring on the hate.
No.
Yeah, I mean, who the fuck does that?
Yeah, it sounds like that person's trying to write a book.
Exactly.
Like, it sounds exploitive as fuck.
Oh my God. This is my cousin and she has no idea what the F we're talking about. Because they're like, who is this? And it's just perfect. She just said it. This is exactly what I've been saying. Who the F would call somebody up and be like, hey, baby, I mean, I just can't even believe that there are naked pics floating around with you and Shazam. Like, I just can't even get over it. I'm being harassed by people hitting me in the DMs, showing me naked pics of you and Shiz. And I just need this to stop. And then you would then say, you know what? Me ending the 35C is going to stop all. Okay. No. I just don't get it. I literally don't know who would go live on KK's YouTube channel and think that is going to pave the way to have a clear path. Nobody knew who you were, Kimberly G. Nobody. In fact, a lot of people thought that Kimberly G, it was just like a mess up because of like Kimberly Ann Kaufman, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And here she just is like, puts herself, I'm going to go on KK's channel and just tell the world that I am Chris Watts's pen pal who I send nudes to. Now let me ask you this. Here's a good question. Do you think that this woman could have been a plant? Meaning like, hey, Angela, I'm going to have you start writing Chris Watts and you're going to send him because you're beautiful. You're going to let him know that you just adore him and all this stuff. You guys are going to start dating and then you're going to be able to control him because he is a pussy puppet. Like just, if you say jump, he's going to say how high. Okay. So when the time is right, then I'm going to need you to just act like a straight up crazy bee and just start telling him that, start lying your ass off, and that that you need this 35C to stop. And that way we can control, Chris's destiny. Like, do you think that that's possible?
I mean, anything's possible. People have been using sex to manipulate people since forever. So
if my goal was to make sure that this post-conviction motion didn't go forward, could you see somebody being like, all right, we're going to implant a fake girlfriend to him? And then, I mean, why would this person, though, why would they think they'd be so confident and that this would, like, prevent the 35C from going forward? And that's what leads all roads. All roads lead to Kim Kaufman with Kimberly G, because Kimberly G was never supposed to stop any 35C. But that became the at all costs, whatever it takes to. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It should be good. Are we good with sound? So you guys should be able to hear now. All's good in the hood. Aunt Lala, you back for some more fun? So basically, you got Kimberly G laying low, nothing's going on. Nobody knows who she is, and then all of a sudden, Kimberly G wants to become vocal after Denver. Give me an effing break. That is a load of shiz, okay? Kimberly G has had numerous opportunities to meet with the Wattses, to do all this stuff, and yet every time something comes up. How about that for them apples? The woman was 90 miles away, 90 minutes away. And from the Wattses, she claimed that she was in Wilmington. And 90 minutes is nothing. I drive 90 minutes all the time. When I would drive from Key Largo to Key West, that's like
Is that 90 minutes?
It's actually a little bit more than that. Because it usually would take me from Duck Key to Key West about an hour and 25, hour and 12 minutes. I could usually do it as long as, like, nobody was being idiots on US 1, but I would always just love to chill, though. I'd listen to, like, the best music and all the windows down, surrounded by water. So I bet you to Key Largo, I'm guessing 2.5, 2. What do you think?
Sure.
Anyways, you guys, I think that people out there think that Kimberly G is a plant from the Rusicks. That's just, that's just not true. The evidence that I found doesn't support that whatsoever. Let's see. So, Anna, who talked to the family, you know, frequently, also saw the family, you know, met. And it's like, that's because that's kind of normal. But Kimberly G runs the opposite way. So no, I don't believe that she was a plant from the Rusiks. I don't believe that at all. I don't think the Rusiks need to plant anybody, to be completely honest. OMG. Now that just made my day. OMG. Oh my god. You just can't get any better than that. Be kind in the chat, love. OMG. So, hey baby, are you over your meltdowns? Are you ready to pick that church out yet? I think we should just go with cupcakes instead of like a really big cake. I think that we should just go with some cupcakes. And I'm really, really going to be stern about the whole three women with sushi. So, I'm definitely not a cheater. You already have me on GPS, so like, you know, I'm not cheating. I know we're all synced up with our 360 life app. Life 360, 360 Life. What is it called? Do you have one of those? Do you have that app? Yeah, I think so. I'm wearing my birthday suit, so I don't know what Debris wants to wear. I mean, she can wear whatever she wants. I'm definitely not controlling like that. Muffy says, do you believe she was a plant? Kimberly G, I've stated this, Kimberly G completes the circle of life with KK. I think that to get power of attorney over Chris, you already have the blessing with the parents, or so Kim thought, and then you need the girlfriend blessing. And that's the one thing that she would never have with Anna in the picture, because Anna would have been like, what? Like, power of attorney? No. Who needs power of attorney? So, but if your girlfriend supports KK, you know, oh my God, yeah, she's great. So that's why I think that, you know, how come Kimberly G went on KK's channel? That's all you have to ask yourselves. Ask yourselves that. Ask yourselves what other channel Kimberly G has went on, and the answer is none. The answer is that. Ew. Debris, you don't even know what a strap-on is. Look at what people are writing in chat, love. I can't even highlight that. If I didn't know any better, I think this was sexual harassment. Moist panties. Thirsty.
What is going on?
Key West is the best. I know what is going on. You guys, you have to think about the whole plant thing. I'm telling you guys. I'm just telling you. Look at the time frame of when Kimberly G enters stage right, and look at the time frame of when Anna exits stage left. Okay? There's that overlappage for a reason. Because it was a very, I mean, listen to Kim's words. It's Kim's words, not mine, not anybody else's. Getting rid of Anna was orchestrated. Now that took some work. That was orchestrated. Like, she is telling the world how orchestrated that was. The words orchestrate, look it up. What does orchestrate mean to you? Planned?
Yeah. Puppeteered.
Yeah, like, so, again, not my words, Nobody's words except KK, and she says it on a live. No plant could ever know. Okay, guys, let me explain this to you. No plant could ever know that Chris, if supposedly what you guys are all thinking is true, that Chris would ever in a million thousand years do what this person is basically being accused of doing, canceling the 35C, right? Well, what if Chris says no to that? Now, I'll tell you what I do think happened, which is it would be about not having certain people on board, but yes, to go forward with something, but go a different route with it. So, but nobody knows what type of conversations have been had. And now that makes more sense to the whole terms of, yes, she was planted, no, not by the Rusiks, and it's about it's about Kim Kaufman kicking things up into a completely out of control gear, and Chris was collateral. She doesn't give two shits about Chris or his family. KK has one agenda at the moment, and that's been her agenda since December. Debris, you are so thirsty. Debris everywhere. I'm just gonna have to go and do that to you. What's her agenda? Her agenda is her YouTube channel, number one. It's all over now, so it's all good. It's all over. Well, I feel like I missed so much. Duh. If the 35C is off, then what would be the point of KK's channel? KK never goes on her channel. She's too busy touring other channels. She just goes live in Patreon probably and collects money per month off memberships. So when's the last time she talked about anything on her channel publicly? Touring. And if the 35C is off, the other thing about this is that KK was never going after a 35C, guys. There was no talks of a 35C. I don't know if she has her videos up from when she first came on scene, but go back and watch all of her videos if she still has them up. There is no talks about her actively going and getting a 35C lawyer or anything like. When I say 35C lawyer, an appellate attorney, like anybody that does post convictions that's worth a damn. You know, ask her to show any emails beginning in, October of 2020. Ask her to show any outgoing and incoming emails from her box to somebody else's box. Yep, you like that? From October, November. There are none. Okay, there are none. Ask KK to come with some damn CVS receipts. Why isn't anybody asking KK to come with receipts? KK did not start a channel to get anything other than money in her pocket. Okay? If she gave a damn about Cindy, when Cindy asked her to go to Denver and said that Cindy said she would pay for her, okay, and they're supposed to be such best friends, and she cares so much about Cindy and all this blah 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 blah, she would have went to Denver. Come with the receipts. Go ask KK to show her emails, her outgoing and incoming emails in October and November and December and January and February. And then we'll go tit for tat. Come with the receipts, and guess what, guys? There are none. But I would love to see how they're going to try to make receipts and post date some of these emails that you can't clearly do. But oh my gosh, wait, damn it, in my ears was depressed here. Yeah, I don't know who was here, but I was just touring. Okay, over here is Fowler's entrance. Oh my god, it's 11:46. We are late as F.
We are?
Yeah, I wanted to be there, like, we're fine. We're really not that late. It starts at 12. We'll be there at 11:50.
Okay.
Guess what time I woke up this morning? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. I'm like, I'm gonna take Rockhaven. I probably shouldn't, but I will. Emails regarding what? I'll ask. Ask for emails of her actively seeking attorneys. If she started her channel to get Chris, a 35C, she should have been actively seeking, attorneys. And there should be receipts of the emails that were outgoing to, attorneys in Denver. Like, what was she doing? How was she helping the Watts family? What has KK done for the Watts family? And I'll wait. Now, go ahead and thumbs up this. Go ahead and get ready. September, the mock trial returns. The defense will be taking over after NK takes the stand. So, you guys, I kicked off your Sunday fun day. I expect you guys to have the most amazing Sunday. I want you guys to be kind to one another out there. I want nobody writing any prisoners. I really want us to stay away from that today. Lana, I wish you would share your opinion on the Watts case. Yeah, it's never going to happen. Oh my God, guys, we're here. This is going to be the best time of our lives. Someone's leaving in a body bag. What? I need to break a couple of these $100 bills. We need change. Hopefully they have lots of change with them.
What exactly are we doing?
We are running the whole, look at, they brought the VIP party bus. Check this out. OMG. This is going to be so fun. John's out here. Okay, you guys, be safe. See you soon. And, go get them receipts. Peace.
Jonathan, is your mom here too?
No.